Hi babes, welcome back to today's video. In today's video I am going to be showing you easy step-by-step guide on flawless underpainting makeup tutorial on dark skin. So first off, I'm going to start with the skin. Skin care is very important. So you prep the skin. I'm going to start by cleansing the skin with micellar water. I'll go a couple of times just to make sure I take out the dirt from my skin, and I'm going to go ahead and moisturize. Moisturizing is key because this keeps the skin supple and it helps whatever you're going to be applying on the skin to glide on smoothly. Skincare prep is very important, most especially if you're attempting underpainting makeup technique, just because you're going to be placing most of the products down, and there's every tendency that the products you're going to be applying might likely be a mattifying product. So if you don't prep the skin well enough, they might turn out to be too dry and blending out might be a lot difficult. So I'm prepping the skin and I went ahead to apply moisturizer and primer. Then I am applying a primer here that targeted a perfect skin type. She has a combination skin, so I applied a primer at the T-zone area. Now I am adding glow to her skin. I'm bringing light to her skin by applying the illuminator. So I'm placing this illuminator at the highest point of her cheekbone and also bridge of the nose. I'm just placing it where I can see the light reflecting on her skin, basically. So if you don't know where to place your illuminator, just look through your mirror and see where light is hitting your face naturally. So that's the area you should apply your liquid illuminator. I'm done blending out the liquid illuminator. I'm still going to go ahead and use a beauty sponge, and this is what I have. If your liquid illuminator is not looking like it's coming out from your skin, then you haven't done a good job by blending out well. So I'm going to go ahead and start sculpting. I'm using a contour, but this contour is slightly warm just because I feel like when your contour is slightly warm, it looks flattering on a woman of color. That is why I did this intentionally, just in case some of you are wondering why the contour is not cool, doesn't have a cool undertone. Then I'm going to place it at the side of her nose. Guys, I want you to take note of my tools, the tools I will be using, because I use different tools to apply this product on our skin, and I'll be explaining to you all later in this video why I am doing what I am doing now. So basically I am contouring where I would contour if I had applied the foundation before the sculpting. Now I'm going under her eyes. I'm using a concealer, and I'm not using a concealer that dries down like the regular concealer that builds up, that dries down, you know, those self-setting concealers. This is a creamy concealer, but it has good coverage. So this is like 2 shades lighter than our actual skin tone. I'm going to be placing it with a brush under her eye area, at the bridge of her nose. I add a little bit on her eyelid and also at the bottom part of her nose. Then I'm also going to put it by the cupid bow, her chin, and the side of her hollow. This is just to pronounce the contour after blending it out. Then I'm going ahead to add cream blush there. I purposely used creamy product just because I wanted to still retain that texture. I don't want to come back and start fighting with the blending. You know, when you use product that tends to give a long lasting finishing, those type of products are most likely matte products. So blending out, sometimes if you're not careful, you might start fighting with it. Then I'm showing you the brushes that I'll be using. Guys, I also want you to take note, like I said earlier, I use different brushes for different placements. The reason why I'm doing that is just in case I lose out from the intensity of the color that I placed down, I can always go back with the brush that I use in blending out that area to reinforce the pigment. To be blending them out seamlessly, like I'm going to take my time to blend out the complexion base application. It is very important that you blend out. And another thing I would like you all to understand is when you're blending out, especially when you're doing underpainting technique, when you're blending out, you are not blending out to, you know, to make it less obvious. If you understand what I mean, you're blending out, you're going to keep the blending just exactly where placement is. You're not going to be spreading it out too much like you would do if you had applied the foundation first. For underpainting technique, you're going to blend exactly where the placement is. You're just trying to fade out the lines, not necessarily spreading out the application, just fade out. When you need to make it disappear, when you need to make it spread out, is when you apply the foundation on top of it. So this time you are just blending out, you are not spreading around. You just need to blend exactly where you apply the product. Do you understand, guys? So I'm going to go over to the blush. I'll blend out the blush, and if you guys noticed, you will see that I use different brushes for different blending out of different placements. The reason is just like I explained earlier, so in case you lose out from any of the pigments, you can always go back with the particular brush you use in blending out to add back the pigment, to add it back. So now that I have blended out the highlighting part, I'm going to use that brush that I use in blending out the contour part. I'll use it to blend out the side. I will use the same brush to blend out the part I highlighted with the contour part. The excess of doing that is to cancel out any obvious line between the highlighted area and the contour side. So over to the foundation. For the foundation, you can see that I use just little foundation at the back of my hand. I'm going to spread it out, and I'll take a fluffy foundation brush or a powder brush, whatever works for you, and I'm going to dab onto the foundation at the back of my hand, and I'll place it just where I applied the underpainting techniques. So what we're doing here is we're not applying the foundation exactly how you would apply your foundation. What we are doing here is we are trying to fade out the lines, more like you're blurring out the lines where each application meets. So I'm showing you guys the part that I applied the foundation and the part I did not. It looks really nice. So the next step is I'm going to be using the tissue paper. I will separate it into two and use it to suck out the excess oil or the shine from the foundation. And as you can tell, you see that the part where I did this technique look really nice and more like skin as opposed to the part I did not. So that is another add-on, like extra, technique or hack, whatever you call it, guys. So you just use that to soak up any oil from the foundation, leaving the pigment behind. Then after I'm done with that, I'll spray with a setting spray. Once that dries, then I'll go ahead and apply powder. So setting the under eye down, I'm using a tinted setting powder under the eyes, and I'm also going to be using that at the areas that I highlighted with a lighter concealer. Then for the parts where our skin and the blush is, you can decide to go ahead with a translucent powder, preferably no color one, so it can just blend everything out and set everything without adding color to it. But if you want, you can go ahead and use a color setting powder. Whatever works for you is fine. So, but for me, I'm going to be using a colored compact powder to set the area of her face aside the powder I set with a setting powder. Once I'm done with setting with the setting powder, the next is to reinforce the part I sculpt. I'm going to use a bronzer, a deep bronzer, to sculpt her face, but you don't have to if you don't want. So if after you set your face and you like the dimension it is giving you, you don't have to go and you don't have to apply extra contour powder. But for me, I am going to do that just to further emphasize the side of her face. At this point, what I'm doing is just to add back, just to emphasize what I did before the foundation. So I'm placing it on top of it, like when you do your regular application, foundation, contour, blush and highlighting, and you still go back and set it. That is what I'm doing, and this is for the purpose of emphasizing the parts and the sculpting, just to make it show a lot more. But if you feel like after applying your foundation you like the dimension your face is giving you, you don't have to go ahead and do all of these things. Just set your face and you are good to go. But for me, I'm just doing this because, like I said, I want to further emphasize our facial structure, and this is the finished look. I went ahead to finish up with that look, and this is what I have, and I set our skin as well to give me that really nice skin like finishing. Let me know if you like this in the comment section. Please do not forget to subscribe, like, share, and let me know what your thought is down in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.